What's up, guys? Back with another video. I'm in the back of the truck about to clean this thing. Then I gotta go get some DEF fluid and fill this thing up with some diesel. All right, we got this thing all nice and clean. Now we gotta go get some DEF fluid and some diesel. Man, did you guys see Bitcoin's popping off? It hit 118,000 overnight. Everything's popping off. Axelir, Ondo, Sui. On the 7-day, they're all up like 20%. One thing though I try not to do is performance chase, where I'm like, I'm jumping back in this, I'm jumping back in that. I just like to have conviction on a few things, hold it, and just keep. And anything else, if I want it, I gotta add to it with new money. Because a lot of times what'll happen is I'll play around with the bottom line. Because I found over the years what happens is, and a lot of people do this too, probably like me, you'll play around with the money you already have. You know, like you'll have your investments, and then you'll see like some shiny new thing, or you watch 10,000 YouTube videos on why this is going up, and then you sell out of this, and you get into this, and you sell out of that, and you get into this. I like to think of my investments like it's like a collection. Like I have a collection of things, like whether it's Pokemon cards. I don't collect Pokemon cards, or it's a collection of like baseball memorabilia. Like I'm not trying to swap around. I'm trying to build my collection. Or that's why I liked rental properties. It was like, that's why I like SCHD. I look at it like I'm like adding to it. I'm stacking it. And like once I get it, I don't sell it. Like I can't sell it. It's locked in. I mean, there's times where I have to sell it. Like I have my Q2 taxes, and I had to sell a little bit of my investments to pay the rest that I needed to pay, because we made a little more than I thought. Things like that. But for example, let's just say I'm like, oh, I want Bitcoin. Like I have some Bitcoin. But let's say I'm like, I want more Bitcoin. You know, I'm so tempted to sell like half my SCHD and go put it all in Bitcoin right now. Which, who knows, in the long run, maybe it's not a bad decision. But what I'm saying is, instead of doing that, it's like, no, I can't do that. I chose this thing, I'm buying this, I'm holding it, and I'm gonna try to go out and accumulate more money, and then use that money to buy it. I just found that approach always works better than like trying to swap around in between things because of fees and taxes, and you're gonna be jumping from one thing to the next. It's better. The other thing that's helped me is fail fast. That's the car I had right there. You see it? I had that exact car for like 11 years. That's the car I drove every day. Even when we were making money on the e-commerce site, I think we made almost $1 million in 1 year, and I was driving that car. I had an exhaust leak. I never got fixed. Then the next car was a 2006 Camry. And the day my second son was born, we were coming home from the hospital, and a woman in a huge Econoline van rear-ended us. And it was literally on the way home from the hospital. She didn't want anything to do with that accident, I could tell. But that car got totaled, so that car disappeared. After that, the first car I got, I remember feeling like super proud about it. It was a Highlander. It was a 2009 Toyota Highlander. And it felt good because it was like, I remember getting in it, and I had my son with me, and he was like, maybe he was 8, I want to say, 7. And at the time, and then we had a newborn. And I remember sitting in it thinking like, man, I feel like I'm like a dad. Like it feels like I have a real car. Like I'm not like driving around in some beater. Like it was like a decent car, you know? I remember the feeling because it was like, it was an SUV. So it was like sitting up a little higher. And I didn't think I was going to have a car like that. We're down to 18 miles on the diesel. There's a gas station right here. They've got diesel. And they have DEF fluid, I think. If you guys don't know what DEF fluid is, it's diesel exhaust fluid. All right, we made it. Yeah, DEF fluids for emissions. It cuts down on like nitrogen oxide or something. I don't know. Some chemistry stuff. Like this thing's all digital. Next thing you know, we're gonna be paying with Bitcoin. But just like everybody else right now, when you see Bitcoin popping off, you think, man, I wish I had more. You know, in January of this year, I had 7. I had 7 of them. I had most of my money in Bitcoin. Now I have 1. Well, a little less than 1 because I had to sell a little bit of it. Because I had to do exactly what I was saying not to do. I had to dip into my investments to pay for something. Sometimes that theory I said in the other video, like going to broke, like keeping nothing in your account and keeping everything in the investments, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. You know, there are times where you're like, you don't have enough to pay for something, or you have a bill or a family emergency. Do you guys sell DEF fluid?
We do. Yeah.
$111 to fill this thing up. 31 gallons. I always pop a little hole in this thing before I fill it because it takes forever to come out. DEF kind of smells like cat piss. Alright, I got the DEF fluid in there. Let's get back on the road. You guys ever feel like you're managing too much? That's how I feel. Alright guys, I'm going into work in this Starbucks. Got the laptop. Check out this Carrera 4 GTS. Alright, I just got finished working in the Starbucks. I went through my triple whale. Check out the China Blue G-Wagon. I went through my triple whale. If you guys don't know what that is, that's a third-party software I use to look at my customer acquisition cost and attribution, so I can see where the sales are coming from, like what ads they're coming from. Because some of the Facebook ad attribution data is not the best. But I gotta be dead honest. I feel like you should just use the Facebook ad attribution. Ooh, 911, red one. I feel like you should just use the Facebook Ads Manager attribution data. I use the triple whale for insights. I don't really use it for pure decision making, because let's say, for example, on Facebook Ads Manager, it's telling you all your sales are coming from this specific campaign, but triple whale is telling you it's coming from a different one. A lot of times when I go off the triple whale data completely and I shut off the one that Facebook is saying is giving me all the sales, a lot of times what will happen is things will just fall flat and everything will get all out of whack, because Facebook is using that information that it has to make decisions. So you can really get confused if you go 100% off the 100% off the triple whale data. But I use the triple whale data for insight. I get insights sometimes, and I'll make some decisions based on it. I put an advertisement out for, I'm gonna hire someone for TikTok Live Selling. So I really think that's the future, dude. Like, a lot of people are saying, like, how do I start an e-commerce store? I feel like maybe I'm showing you the old model. You know, like I'm saying, start a Shopify store and do this and that. A Shopify store is still great. You need to have the Shopify store if you want to have the brand. But I think TikTok Live Selling, and also there's an app called Whatnot. Check out Whatnot. You could be kind of early if you go deep into that. But I think live selling, like the QVC-ification of online sales, Facebook groups, things like that. If you can figure out how to operate in those little niches, I think you can do really well. Like, for example, there might be, like, you might be listening to this and you might be trying to be a content creator on TikTok to make money. You might do way better just selling a product. Like, you could literally set up a TikTok shop. We have a TikTok shop. We get like little sales that trickle in. We post like 25 reels or 25 TikToks a day, 25 to 30. And we tag products and everything, but we really need to get really narrowed in with the live selling. Like, just a few years ago, you'd watch QVC. You'd watch those things on TV. Now you literally, and you'd watch TV shows. You'd watch Family Matters, Full House. You guys are like, what shows are those? The Simpsons. Now, step by step, now you can literally make your own TV show with YouTube. You can make your own QVC with TikTok. Literally just start a daily deals page. Like Daily Deals with Danny. Welcome to Triple D. We always give you the D. We get you those daily deals. You know what I mean? And just freaking go find products and just list them on there and on your TikTok shop. I mean, there's some steps you got to take, and it's a little annoying setting up a TikTok shop and the TikTok page. But once you get it all set up, you could do something like that. You could drop ship products. I'm not saying, I don't know, that's not what I do, but I'm saying that you guys may be saying to me, like, make a thing showing how to start an e-commerce brand. Like, I may know how to do it the way I did it over like 10 years, 2014. But now things are different. Like, everything's getting like segmented out into shops. Facebook shop, Instagram shop, TikTok shop. Now you can have a shop on your YouTube. Like, before, we needed the website to sell you. You needed my website to see the vibe, to get the brand identity, to know if this is my tribe, this is who I belong with. I want to wear this. I want to be just like these people. But now, you may not even go to the website. You watch the reel to get the vibe. You watch the reel to feel the feeling, or you watch the reel to see the qualities and value of the product, or you watch the TikTok, and then you decide, I'm just going to buy this. I like this. And boom, 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 you just click, 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 because your payment stuff's already saved in there. And then we also have Shopify Shop. People forget, you can go on, right now, go on like Google Play Store or Apple Play Store, whatever it is, and just download Shop. That's Shopify's app. A lot of people don't know, but if you have a Shopify store, go into sales channels and go to shop, and then go on the left-hand side of the screen and go to campaigns. You can actually pay money to create campaigns to bring back to life old customers that used to buy from you that are dormant and haven't bought in a long time, because Shopify has all that data. Because you're operating on Shop as an app is basically inside of Shopify. So they know your customer list, they know who ordered and when's the last time they ordered. You could create a campaign to target customers who haven't ordered in 80 days or whatever in Shop app. It's pretty powerful. So we got Bitcoin popping off. I think it's probably still early, dude. I started thinking about it this morning. I was thinking to myself, man, we're relying on our government to be sensible and to run our country like a business. No matter who's in office, we're hoping that they're going to not overprint and deflate our currency. And we just assume that, we have like the smartest people in the world running things. No matter who's in office, we're assuming like they've got some type of knowledge, they know what they're doing. They got some good financial IQ. But at every turn, we're reminded that they love to print money, dude. Print, print, print. And every time we turn that printer on, we're devaluing our currency. The dollar used to be backed by the gold standard. Nixon removed it. And then it enabled us to just print. We had the amount of gold as dollars. Now it's just fiat, trash cash that has no real value. It has value, but the value that we give to it. Like now, people are giving value to Bitcoin as a store of value. And the more and more people that go into it, the less volatile it's going to be, the less the drawdowns will be, and the more stable it'll be. But over time, the return will decrease. But I think that's a long ways away. But I was thinking this morning, I'm like, we're just assuming that they're just gonna, like, how we have, if you had your household, if you had more money going out than you do coming in, that does not last very long. That's what I got going on with the business. I got more going out than I do coming in. And I can feel the pressure, dude. I can feel it on my shoulders. And you got to make a change quick. If you don't, you can't sustain that for very long. But we can sustain it as a country because we just print more money. But now the interest payments on the debt is more than our military budget. So imagine if you had more interest payments you were paying more in interest per month than you were in groceries and your mortgage. How long is that going to last you? But what I'm getting at is, it's like we keep assuming like, oh, there's going to be some savior that comes in and they're going to just get everything back in order, and they're going to balance the budget. They're going to balance their checkbook. But I just keep getting reminded that I'm like, dude, there is no person that's going to come do that. There's too many people in the government, I feel like, that it's too irresponsible with the printing. It's not ran like a business or a household. We just print money and we just keep increasing the deficit and we keep increasing our interest. So a lot of people don't realize, but I think sometimes the government likes inflation, because when there's inflation, what happens is if they owe money, for example, when there's inflation, it can actually inflate away the debt. It sounds kind of confusing. Like I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it saying it, but I know what I'm saying. I just can't articulate it. So like, let's say, for example, let's just say today you go buy a car for $100,000. Now, let's say $100,000, the purchasing power of $100,000 was $100,000. And let's say that over like a year, the purchasing power of your dollar decreases. So now that car is worth way more than $100,000. Or let's say I sell products and I was getting $5 for the product. But then because of inflation, everything went up in value. But the item didn't go up in value. It's just that the dollar went down in value. So you needed more dollars to get the same thing. So now you're getting more dollars for the same item and you're paying back your debt, which is less dollars with more dollars in the future. I know it's hard to wrap your head around it, but what I'm saying is they can inflate away. Sometimes they like inflation because it basically inflates away the debt, if it makes any sense. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you kind of understand what I know what point I'm trying to make, but I don't know if it's very accurate. And then the other side of it is they want the low interest rates, because then if you had low interest rates, you could have low debt payments, interest payments. But I'm just trying to make a case for Bitcoin. I'm saying that we keep assuming that there's going to be somebody that comes in and they're going to balance the budget. We're going to have more money coming in than we do going out. I mean, I feel like things might have been improved slightly, but then the new bill, there's like $2 trillion of money printing in there. Then I was reminded again, like, oh, there, like, if I had a money printer in like my office, would I be like, fire that thing up, dude? Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, like, I can't judge. Like, maybe I'd be like, fire that bad boy up. I'm getting a 911 GT3 RS. Turn it on. So, I mean, I'm not blaming them. I'm saying, what I'm getting at is I feel like anybody that has access to that money printer, dude, and I don't think it's like I don't think the president has access to the money printer. It's the Federal Reserve. And they don't really print money. They just, like, change digits on a screen, probably. I don't know. I've gotten deep into it in the past about like how banks, how there's the broad economy and the base economy. Just research that, broad and base economy. And you'll realize a lot of times the money printing and things a lot of times it doesn't make its way into the broad economy or the base. I don't remember which one's which. I told you I'm like a hippo with a tie on. Don't even listen to me. I know enough to get myself in trouble. All I'm saying is that you can make a case for Bitcoin. Fixed supply, every halving, the supply decreases. I don't have a ton of Bitcoin, I have a little bit. Sometimes I want more though when I start talking about this stuff and thinking about it. What if there was a day where there was like hyperinflation in the US? Or, look at that, that's the water. See it out there? A lot of people say like end the Fed, but I think 222 angel numbers. I think have the Federal Reserve, you know, the tools that they have. This people always say like Robert Kiyosaki is saying we're gonna have hyperinflation. Someone left a comment too. They said like in 2027 or 2030 we're gonna have hyperinflation. I feel like they can keep kicking the can down the road as long as other countries hold a portion of their reserves in US dollars, because that type of demand allows us to print. For example, like it all started with the oil stuff. So once they made the deal that, I can't remember what president it was, but he basically made the deal that oil will be denominated in US dollars. So if, for example, Saudi Arabia sells oil in US dollars, everybody around the world needs US dollars to buy the oil. But if they were to say, you know what, we're not using US dollars anymore, we're going to use yen, or we're going to use this, or we're going to use that, then there would be no reason for all these countries to have US dollars and hold US dollars. They may say, we're going to hold 1% or 10% or whatever it is in this currency, because this is the one we need to transact around the world with. I don't think that will ever, I don't know if that'll ever happen. Who knows? Leave comments. I don't know a lot about any of this stuff. I'm not an economist. I just graduated high school barely, doing homework in homeroom. First period, getting my homework done for the day before. I'm just saying it doesn't take a genius to figure out that it's not sustainable if you have trillions of dollars in debt and you have billions and billions of dollars in interest every month, and you have your country's GDP isn't producing a number that's higher than the debt. So we have more debt than we do income coming in. How long is that going to last? They say you can't tell who's swimming naked till the tide goes out. When I was younger, I didn't think I'd care about any of this stuff. But if you can position yourself and think about these things, rather than just go along with the herd and be like, oh, everything's hunky-dory. You know, like, what would happen if there was hyperinflation? What would happen if the US dollar was devalued to a point that we needed wheelbarrows to buy something? I'm not saying that would ever happen, but I don't know. It's worth thinking about. I mean, you can make a case for Bitcoin. Leave a comment. Leave the word BTC or Bitcoin. Write BTC or Bitcoin if you own any Bitcoin. Anything. Just leave that in the comments. I'm just interested to see how many people have any. Just leave it in the comments. But I'll see you guys on another video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys.
Ooh. All right. Woo. This is light work. Come on. Spill the tea. Yeah. Ooh. All right. Woo. This is light